I met a gypsy.
But with the way you ride a 125, you don't want to lean that thing over in the corners and bury it super deep. You know, you don't. I feel like when you're leaned over completely sideways on the 125 and you're digging into the sidewalls, you're probably, you know, bogging down the bike, hitting the corners super fast and bringing the RPMs down of the bike. So with the 100 on there, you know, it doesn't allow you to lean the bike over super far in those corners, and you know, you don't get into that sidewall and get leaned over super far. You're still riding the top of the tire, you know, and it being a smaller tire, it also doesn't dig down as much, you know, it doesn't rob as much power because a bigger tire is just going to be more surface area on the ground, which the 125, the least and the amount of effort it takes to spin the tire, it's going to be faster.
Yeah, right. All right. I'm down to change that shit. So, with this, just to stay on the mechanical topic a bit longer, like, does this mechanical knowledge that you have translate into you as a test rider? Like, would you say you're a pretty good test rider?
Yeah. I feel like suspension wise, 100%. Like I know what does what clicker does what. You know, like where you're feeling it on the bike, like where you could adjust it with this clicker, where what the rebound would do, where it reacts on the track, like what clicker does what on which kind of bumps on that section of track. Yeah, I could tell you exactly where to change it, you know, whether it be the high speed compression or the low speed compression or the stiffness or along anything. Like I could pretty much tell you, like if there's along the lines, I could go from 2 psi over 13 or 2 psi under 13. If it's any more than that, I could tell you we're too low or too high on psi and shit like that.
Yeah, right. And so how did you learn that process? Because I feel like testing's just one of those, I just feel like people don't know how to like become a good tester. Like there's a good roadmap how to be a good racer or a good rider. Like if you do X, Y, and Z, train this much, you'll be a good racer. But with testing, I just feel like one of those things where it's like, you either got it or you don't. But like, I don't know, did you learn, or it was just always something that you were good at?
So I feel like to be a good tester, you have to know your equipment. You have to know what it does. Whatever you're testing, you have to know the functioning of it, what it does, you know. So whether like, if you don't know what it does, your tech there that's with you, you know, ask questions, learn of what does what reacts what when you're doing this way, you know. Like none of us knew how to test, you know, growing up. Like it's just your father put you on the bike and you fucking ride it, you know. Whether you changed the clicker here and there, you didn't really know what it did, you know. Yeah, sure, you could push on it and feel like you slowed it down or you sped up the rebound or softened it or stiffened it. You don't know whether it made it better for this bump here or that bump here, you know. So it's like, to be a good tester, I feel like you have to know what you're testing. You know, you have to know the functionality of the equipment, you know. So I feel like if you know exactly what that is before you're testing it, you'll be more in tune with what you're testing, you know. Like if like I'm saying, you don't know if you're like, oh, it's kicking me coming down the hill here, you know, you're like, okay, that could be a little adjustment in the low speed or the, you know, but you're just like, fuck, I don't know, it's kicking me, you know. You come back. But if you know your equipment, like what cartridge and what stroke does what of where, you know, you can tell them like, hey, it's in the mid speed of the stroke, it's when it's compressed here, it's kicking me sideways here, you know, maybe we could do this to that, you know. Just knowing your equipment, you become a good tester.
And so did you ever do any kind of days where you just went out and you'd like hit the same straightaway 10 times but with different clicks each time, or like was there ever any of that, or it was just like a long slow knowledge building process?
So a little bit of both. I feel like, so a lot of people don't know, I did a lot of, as an amateur rider and mini rider, I did a lot of photo testing and dirt bike testing for the magazine Mini Rider. It was like a brother or sister magazine of Dirt Rider.
Yeah.
And so twice a year, we always got the new models of the dirt bikes, and I always got to test every brand. Whether it was like, I got to be in the magazine testing this brand of bike, but we still got to ride all of them, you know. And like, we got to do like 3 days in a row at 3 different tracks of testing it with all the manufacturers that were there. Even though we were young kids, still there was the Yamaha truck was there with 4 of the Yamaha guys. And like, you know, if we said, oh, it was doing this, it was doing that, we didn't like that, they would change it for us. So like doing that, I did probably mini rider and dirt rider photo shoots for probably like 7 or 8 years when I was a young kid. And like that kind of was my testing, like just, you know, getting to ride the new bikes there, like testing with those guys. They do the suspension testing, and I would like kind of when growing up at my age in my era, it wasn't like you got your suspension done on a 65 or an 85 like that. You know, you just like got it stock, you got it sprung for your weight, and you adjusted the clickers with your dad yourself, you know. So like just riding with those guys, we would take from what the bikes I liked from there, we would just be like, okay, they did these clicker adjustments. We would just take those and try to memorize those and just mimic those onto the bikes that we bought, even though it was just stock, because we were riding those bikes stock. Those guys testing with us those 3 days in a row on different tracks, like it was like I had my own little notebook on an 85 rider, like Honda did this, we did this, we ran this PSI, like just taking little notes here and there. Like even being around other mechanics nowadays, like for other riders, like I'm still learning to this day. Like you know, you can't be afraid to learn. There's people that always think that their way is the right way and there's no other way to do it. I always just like to take like, okay, like I watched Robbie Brown, Tyler Barron's mechanic, change a tire. I watched him change it, and he changed it different than I ever have. And I was like, why'd you do it that way? And when he told me, I was like, dude, yeah, absolutely. Like I never thought about it that way. Like, and now I only learned that about a year ago. Now I do that every single time, you know, and it just made my life easier and made me a better mechanic on the tire changing aspect. And, you know, just getting to train as that kid was kind of cool. That was my training for being the Grom, was just doing all the testing and photo shoots for Mini Rider. And it came out to awesome. Being like, I was on the cover of one of the magazines. I was on a pull-out poster of 2 of them. Like I'm on one side and Blake Baggett's on the other side on a Super Mini Kawasaki. So I was like, it's pretty fucking cool. I'm on one side of the poster and Blake Baggett's on the other side. Or back in the day, there's another kid, Kyle Engel. I haven't brought up in a long time. But he was 85 Red Bull rider on an 85, number 134. Like I did photo shoots with him on an 85, Austin Politelli, like Baggett, a bunch of shit like that. And like just being on the same magazine, the same poster, and then like getting knowledge from those guys too, because they were badass little riders, you know. In my notebook, I would take down what they did to their motorcycle as well, what tire pressure they like to ride at and shit like that. And notice I went all the way down to looking at where they put their bar position and their lever position.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.